Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and I'm really glad to be back in front of the camera thinking about FPL. So today we are going to do a buy, sell, keep, avoid video for game week 4. Now apologies guys if my voice is a little bit off today. I am still just recovering from COVID at the moment. So yeah, hopefully I'll be in a relatively good spirit still. But we're going to do our best and we're going to help you out some transfer plans ahead of game week 4 as we look forward to getting back involved in some FPL after this international break. So guys, if you do enjoy this series, if you are looking forward to getting back involved with some FPL, please do leave a like on the channel. It's massively appreciated, all of those likes on the videos, and of course subscribe if you're new around here because we're on that final stretch towards 100,000 subscribers. I can only do it with your help. But guys, before we get involved, a quick word from our sponsor today, which is of course OneFootball. Now, those of you who don't know what OneFootball is, it's a great mobile app / website for all things football. Now, not only is OneFootball excellent for news and stuff like that, injury news, updates, transfer gossip, that stuff like that, but it's also the perfect app for checking lineups and scores and stats from all those games that you might not be watching. So guys, for example, those 3 p.m. kickoffs, if you're in the UK, you can't watch the games. They're all these games are on at the same time in the Premier League. You want to see what the scores are around the ground. OneFootball is the perfect app for that. That's what I use. It's what I recommend you guys use as well. And it's completely free as well. And supporting it, downloading the app, it supports the channel as well. So check it out. Link in the description. So very quickly, buys are players you probably don't have but should consider bringing into your teams. These players have great form and fixtures. Sells are players you probably have but should consider removing from your teams. I don't think these players are going to get many points over the next few game weeks. Keeps are players you probably have. You might be thinking about removing them, but I think you should keep them in your teams. And finally, avoids are players that are pretty hyped up right now. Lots of people are buying them, but I, for whatever reason, think that you should actually be avoiding these players. And we're going to explain a little bit about all of these players that I'll be speaking about in each of these categories throughout the video. 2 in each category. Let's get started with some buys. Now, our first buy is Cristiano Ronaldo. It would be wrong of me to make you wait any longer without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, and it would be wrong of me to put him down as anything other than a buy. Now, his record in Italy over the last few seasons is really good, as you guys will know. 29 goals in 33 last season, 31 goals in 33 the season before that. Only a few assists in there, but that's not really what you're buying him for, to be honest. And to warn you guys, I know he's almost at a goal per game in Italy, but more goals are typically scored in Serie A per game. The Premier League is a tougher league, and I would predict something close to 24 or 25 goals this year from Ronaldo. And whilst it's important to not get too carried away, this isn't Ronaldo in his prime or anything like that. 25 goals in an FPL season is still really, really incredible. And what we do have here for sure is Manchester United's new best attacker. And arguably, Manchester United's only attacker worth considering for your FPL teams. Now, Ronaldo's arrival has meant that Bruno, he's not going to be nearly as attractive as an FPL asset as he was before. So many of Bruno's points last year, the year and a half before that, I guess, they've kind of come from penalty goals, right? We expect Bruno to no longer be on penalties and free kicks. That's going to be handed over to Ronaldo. That's going to really damage his point scoring potential, which means Ronaldo is now going to be the Man United premium that we want to captain whenever United have a really nice fixture. So he covers captaincy perfectly in games like this week against Newcastle. There really isn't another Manchester United player I would consider captaining this week, so by buying him, you're also getting a captain. And let me tell you guys, Newcastle is definitely a team we want to be captaining against. So despite some okay fixtures, they've already shipped 8 goals in 3 games and sit in the bottom few in most defensive metrics. You could also consider captaining Ronaldo in Game Week 5, Game Week 6, and that's what makes premiums worth their price, the captaincy option. So when people say, buy Ronaldo because he's Ronaldo, I kind of get it, but that's not quite enough for me. Buy Ronaldo because he's going to be the standout point scorer for Manchester United. Buy Ronaldo because he's safer in the team than players like Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford when he's fit. Buy Ronaldo because he's the captain option for Manchester United. There's lots to like here, and whilst I don't really want to get carried away, he could be on for a really nice 20 to 25 goal season. Oh, and one more thing, because I know a few of you guys will ask, yes, I would take a -4 to get Ronaldo in your teams. My next buy is Diogo Jota. I'm sure a few of you guys are debating whether to go for a Ferran Torres or Diogo Jota this game week. Maybe you've also thrown in Mason Greenwood into that debate as well. I've thought about this a lot with regards to my own team, and obviously budget will play a big part in this, but I've basically come to the conclusion that at least in the short term, Jota is the one. So guys, if you're like me, you're looking to wildcard in game week 7, and you're looking at those more short-term options, I think Jota is the easy choice. So first of all, Firmino, he's going to be injured for a little bit. We don't know how long for sure yet. There's been conflicting reports, but it's going to be at least 1 or 2 game weeks. This nails on Jota as the starting forward for this Leeds game in particular, and given his form, he could make a challenge for a more permanent spot in that Liverpool side as well. His form is incredible. He's the number 4 out of all players. He's number 4 for non-penalty expected goals this league. In this league, 1.64 expected goals that are non-penalty related. That's pretty insane. He's had 7 chances in the box, 3 big chances, which is 3rd best of all players in the league. All this despite only starting 2 games and only playing 189 minutes so far. So Jota is continuing his trend of not really needing that many minutes to get those points. So when we know he's going to get game time, it almost makes him a must-have kind of player. People do worry about game time though, and I do get that. But is he really any less nailed than a Ferran Torres or a Greenwood? There's probably not too much in it. And if you've got an escape route in the form of a wild card, then getting a high-risk, high-reward player like Jota could be a real difference maker. We also have the Tsimikas situation. If you sold Tsimikas last week as suggested, you're going to have a spare Liverpool slot for your team. So many people will not have those slots, or maybe they'll have to make an extra transfer in order to get Tsimikas out and Jota in. If you've already got rid of Tsimikas, you've got a huge advantage here and you have that flexibility. If it's going to prove a challenge to get Jota into your team, however, or you're looking for someone a little bit more longer term, maybe keep it simple. Maybe going for Ferran Torres. His underlying stats are not as good, Ferran Torres is. His fixtures are not quite as good in the short term as well, but he's still a fantastic pick. Onto some sells, we've got Danny Ings first. Danny Ings, it's kind of more like a Danny fixture swings. If you look at the upcoming fixtures that he's got, they're about to go down the toilet, and I don't want to have any Aston Villa players really through these fixtures. Chelsea, Everton, United, Spurs. Even after that, it's kind of Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham. No thank you, especially considering that Villa haven't really looked that good so far. So for a team with some of the easiest opening fixtures of the lot, I think we all expected a little bit more from them. We expected more chances created, more shots, more decent attacking play. And fair enough, they have had some injury problems, but it's really been a case of a few rare Danny Ings moments dragging them through the games, and they should have kind of been winning comfortably. Now maybe I'm being a little bit harsh here, but I have some serious concerns about what will happen in these games that are actually really difficult for Villa. And an away game against Chelsea, that's a pretty safe time to sell a striker. I don't think any Villa attackers are going to get anything out of this one. Ings also, you know, he's got some really nice escape routes, which is another key factor we like to look at when we're looking at who we're going to sell. So who can we transfer out Danny Ings for? And there's so many options, right, guys? Now, the big escape route we're going to be talking about this week is obviously Cristiano Ronaldo. But if you're looking to replace one of your forwards for Ronaldo, who are you going to take out? Danny Ings is so obvious to me. But even if you're not looking to get Ronaldo, there are plenty of other great striker options. You know, DCL, Wilson, depending on fitness. We've got Bamford. He's got amazing fixtures after the Liverpool game. Jimenez, he's got fantastic fixtures as well. Lukaku, you know, if you fancy going for a different premium angle. Either way, Ings is the player to sacrifice in order to do that. Next up is Bruno Fernandes. Kind of speaking of sacrifices. Now, I said at the beginning of the season about Bruno Fernandes being a bit of a piggy bank player for me. A player that is tying up your cash intentionally, ready for you to make a withdrawal when you need to do that. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are ready to make a big cash withdrawal as you eye up an expensive transfer target, right? For most of us, that's going to be Cristiano Ronaldo that we want, right? But for some of you guys, you might be eyeing up Lukaku or whoever else. I know Mane, Sterling. They're recording some pretty nice underlying stats at the moment. But the point is that Bruno right now seems to be the right player to sacrifice in order to spend big on someone else. Now, before I go any further, I can't reiterate this enough. Bruno will get FPL points for sure. He'll probably get points this game week. The idea, however, is that you're getting rid of him for someone who will score more points over this period of time. Whatever that period of time is, you want to find a player who's going to score more points. You want to find a player who is more likely to be a good captain for you in particular games. You know, I kind of spoke about this earlier. Let's kind of face it. Bruno, without those penalties and free kicks, he does lose a lot of his captaincy appeal. In fact, you'd arguably say that a starting Greenwood has more captaincy appeal than Bruno, especially off the back of the last 2 games where Bruno, he hasn't really looked too threatening in terms of goal scoring or creativity. He's not really done too much. There's been a bit, but nothing to get excited about, especially for that huge price tag. And I think that's the crux of it all, really. With Ronaldo at the club as the new talisman, 12 million for Bruno seems like very, very bad value for money. I'm sure you guys would agree. If Ronaldo was in the game from the beginning of the season, you would not be paying 12 million for Bruno. So take those points that you got so far, particularly those game week 1 points, which were very nice, and kind of acknowledge that maybe for the price, you're not going to get all of the value for money there, and for that reason, Bruno is a sell. My first keep is Luke Shaw. The Luke Shaw exodus, I guess, is continuing as he's yet to return any clean sheets or attacking returns. But you have to say that with the arrival of Ronaldo, I think that's actually going to make Luke Shaw a better FPL option. So why do I think that Luke Shaw is going to be a better FPL option now with Ronaldo at the club? Well, crosses. Crosses is the answer. So Ronaldo is an absolute animal in the air, a heading master, but he's going to need some service. And at Manchester United right now, the primary crosser at the club is Shaw. He's the guy to deliver those crosses, and he's going to be delivering some of those crosses via indirect set pieces as well, corners, free kicks. You can also, you can literally picture it, can't you? You can picture it on the pitch happening already. Luke Shaw banging in a nice cross, a crazy whip into the box. Ronaldo's climbing impossibly high to meet it with his head and bang it out of the keeper's reach. We could also be seeing some clean sheets over the next few games too. Looking at the data, United have actually been one of the stronger performing defences and have been kind of unlucky not to pick up a clean sheet by now. Varane is here now as well. He should improve things. He's already off to a great start at the club. And in the next 3 fixtures for United, we've got a Newcastle side that may be without star striker Callum Wilson. We've got an Aston Villa side that, as mentioned earlier, have looked pretty toothless so far. I do think that we should be kind of monitoring Shaw with the potential to move him on. But looking at other options, I'm not convinced there's anyone else who's going to make a big improvement to your team. And I know it's difficult to be patient, but transfers are so valuable. You should try and avoid making kind of meh transfers and focus your transfers on major improvements to your squad. And removing Shaw is very unlikely to do that for you right now. My next keep is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, looking at the stats, hundreds of thousands of FPL managers have already removed DCL from their teams. Now, this to me is shocking. I know that he has that little yellow triangle next to his name right now, the Dorito of death. Usually, that sends people into a frenzy of sales, but try and keep your cool, guys. Yes, Calvert-Lewin might be injured. We will find out for sure very soon, but it's more likely that he is going to play, and if he does, he is one of the best forwards you can have right now. So right now, my dream front three in an FPL team is Ronaldo, Antonio, and Calvert-Lewin. Now, Ronaldo and Antonio, that's kind of obvious, right? But look here at Everton's fixtures. Burnley, Villa, and Norwich. Norwich, we've already identified as those whipping boys, and you'd back any attacker to score a goal also against them. But Burnley are really interesting because not only are they kind of providing some of the worst defensive stats in the league so far, a trend that's been going for the past year. I know we typically think of Burnley as a strong defence. That's kind of not been the case for a little while now. I think we need to ditch that idea that the Burnley are a difficult team to play against because they have been conceding a lot of goals for a very, very long time now. But also, Burnley do have this bit of weakness in conceding aerial chances, headed chances, and we know that this is Calvert-Lewin's speciality. We also have a forward here who scored 3 and 3. Now, granted, 2 of those have been penalties, but he's also getting some good chances outside of penalties. 2 big non-penalty chances so far, 1.46 non-penalty expected goals, which is a respectable 7th in the league. Only 5 players have taken more shots than Calvert-Lewin. Only Antonio beats him for total shots in the box, and only Antonio can match him for shots on target in total as well. So he's right up the top of all of those attacking metrics. He's created a few chances too, which suggests maybe an assist or two. They may be on their way. And then we can also have to consider that he is on penalties. That is a good thing, not a bad thing, right? Honestly, if fit, he looks like one of the best possible FPL assets money can buy over the next 3 game weeks and possibly beyond. So I would really think twice before selling him, even if you're taking him out for Ronaldo. Finally, some avoids. We've got Pontus Jansson to start us off. So I guess here we go with our weekly Brentford avoid. The problem is they have started quite well, which is convincing people that they're a good team to go for. And therefore, Jansson is one of the most popular transfers in this week. 2 clean sheets and an assist. That's pretty good, right? But the flick on to Tony, the assist, it's not going to happen every week, from that corner against Aston Villa. And as for clean sheets, they may not last much longer. Brighton and Wolves in the next 2 is a pair of nice fixtures for a defender, granted, but after that it's Liverpool, West Ham, Chelsea, Leicester. I'm just not convinced, even if Brentford have massively improved on their defensive reputation, that they can go through those fixtures unscathed. I think they could get battered in all of those games, to be honest, which means minus points for your defenders. If you do want a Brentford defender, I still do prefer Rico Henry, but I'm yet to be convinced that the Brentford defence is the answer to our wish of solid 4.5 million defenders. I would be looking at other players instead. Players like Tierney and Semedo, they're both under 5 million now. Dyer, Cody, Ayling, they're all around 4.5 million. I like the look of those. Or you could go cheap with a Duffy, Livramento, maybe Brandon Williams, who all sit at or just above the 4 million mark. There are plenty of options, but this ain't it. With Brentford's clean sheets dubious from now on, you're essentially chasing an assist point from Jansson, which is definitely not the way you want to look at your centre-backs when you're thinking about which centre-backs you're going to bring in for your FPL teams. Our final avoid is Said Benrahma. Now, this is probably going to surprise a few of you guys, right? Unless you're on a wild card, I do think Benrahma is definitely not a sell, but he is an avoid. If I didn't have Benrahma already, I would be looking at other midfield options to bring into my team right now. And I think we've kind of hit that moment that we hit with all form players where you may have missed the boat on those points. Or maybe more accurately, there are just some more other appealing boats to jump to right now. Now, West Ham, they've got some mixed fixtures kind of coming up, and I do also have concerns that the international break may have damaged the momentum of Benrahma's form. Last game was pretty disappointing too. Just 1 shot and 1 key pass all game. That meant that, even another overperformance couldn't grab points for him, but there are more concerns. So for now, this has pushed Benrahma to the wing. We didn't really want that. The arrival of Nikola Vlasic is going to give increased competition for those 3 positions behind Antonio. Now, I'm not saying Benrahma is going to be dropped, but he may be rotated occasionally, maybe subbed off, a little bit earlier than we perhaps want him to. This is going to be exaggerated by European football too. West Ham are about to embark on a grueling Europa League campaign starting from next week. Benrahma, historically speaking, is not the type of guy to play 90 minutes twice a week. I could be proven wrong on this, to be honest, but it's certainly something we kind of want to be cautious about. And I think all of these factors added together makes me kind of think, yes, Benrahma is great, but with so many attractive players, is he the best one to go for, especially as you'd now be buying him for 6.4 rather than the original 6 million. We've kind of already spoken about Jota, Torres and Greenwood being those nice midfield options. What about players like Rafinha, who has amazing fixtures after the Liverpool game? Honestly, guys, I'm seriously, if I'm to kind of, I don't like to plan my transfers too much, but I like to think about what kind of moves I could be making in future game weeks, and I'm already eyeing up taking out Benrahma in game week 5 and replacing him with Rafinha, to be honest, because of fixture swing. And then we have players like Gray at Everton, who he's had an insane start. He's got insane fixtures coming up. We've got Adama Traore. He's putting up some great underlying numbers. He's got insane fixtures for a very, very long time. Really, really easy fixtures for quite some time, which could be quite nice. And I think we do need to be looking at the future of points. Where are the next big points going to come from players? Rather than dwelling on Benrahma's insane scores from game week 1 and 2. Those scores are gone. You can't have those points now. Let's try and think about who is the next big thing. Now, I know this is going to be really controversial, so for the record, I really don't think Benrahma is a bad pick. If you've already gone for him, fair enough. If you really, really want to get him in, fair enough. My avoid section is not really about picking the worst picks in the game, because otherwise I just, put like a Phil Jones in here every week, right? Or, I could give you another episode of why I think Marcus Alonso is a bad pick. That would be pretty boring though, right? So I thought it might be interesting to discuss one of the most hyped players in the Premier League right now, and how you guys could maybe do a little bit better, and why you should not necessarily just go for the hyped guys necessarily, and there might actually be some better options for out there. So hopefully, I've succeeded in that and maybe changed some minds, maybe not, but there you go. So to summarise, guys, Ronaldo is target number 1. Get him in, even if it means taking a -4. Bruno Fernandes is the player I'd sacrifice if you need the money to make the moves that you want to make. I would say, guys, especially as it's an international break, try to be patient with your transfers. Don't pull the trigger too early in the week. In the press conferences at the end of this week, we're going to find out plenty of news surrounding injuries. There's going to likely to be a surprise or two in there as well. If you can't get Jota, which I know a lot of you guys won't be able to get Jota, don't worry, Torres is almost as good. Please keep showing Luke Shaw some patience, and finally keep avoiding those Brentford guys for now anyway, right? That is the end of this video, guys. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please do leave a like. I would massively appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new around here. We got to get to 100,000 subscribers. I don't know if we could do it by the end of the month, but it's certainly possible, right? But hopefully we can do that within the next month or two. That would be absolutely insane. So keep smashing that subscribe button. I really, really appreciate it, guys. Do check out OneFootball if you like, completely free, of course. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, whatever, at FPL Mate, and all the links are in the descriptions for all kinds of stuff, mini league, whatever you want to do. Plenty of more content to come this game week, ahead of game week 4. We're going to try and help you out the best of our ability. I know a few of you guys are on wildcards. I got your back, guys. I got your back. Just be patient. I will make a wildcard video as well. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.